or not. Lane Johnson, even as great as the record is with Carson, Lane playing, and he has to play. He can't just start and pull a Peters and then disappear for 3.5 quarters. Or Deshaun, for example. I mean, how much are you really counting on Deshaun Jackson right now to play tonight? Or Thursday night. I'm already in Thursday night football mode. I'm so used to having football so much during the week that Tuesday night game threw me off now. I just wake up and expect football at this point. Oh, really? It's time? Great, let's do it. I can't honestly tell you that, and forget a money line from an Eagles standpoint, it's more to try and dig deep from a Giants standpoint. From me, there's no honesty in me if I start picking apart ways in which the Giants are going to win this game. I told you, I already went on it. Fox Bet, they had it up. All of these books, doesn't matter, DraftKings, Parx Casino, and you'll be the ability to buy the alternate line. And I'm just thinking to myself, what's going on right now where people wouldn't push this thing? Already getting word that one or maybe two guys, depending on how long either of them play, and Jackson and Johnson's going to move the line as much as it did, 1.5 to 2 points at one point. I think that we truly have to look at how bad the brakes could get beat off this Giants team Thursday night and take full advantage of that. Daniel Jones is horrendous. That Giants defense might be equally as bad. Jones, I was looking at this, has gone over 200, once? This is such a bad offense. And, yeah, you could blame it on whatever you want. I don't care what you're blaming it on. All I know is the end result. You don't get an opportunity. You're up on that show Chopped, or you're up on one of these cooking shows. I don't care if it's Cupcake Wars. You don't get an opportunity to explain away and bake again. Something falls off the cupcake, or you build something too big of a structure and the cupcakes collapse. Guess what? Either the judges are going to eat dirty cupcakes, or they're not going to get a chance to sample everything that you were supposed to make, and you're going to lose points. So I'm not sitting here trying to figure out, well, the rhubarb was too sweet in Joe Judge's cupcakes. Who cares? The end result is a team far worse than the Philadelphia Eagles. And that talked a lot about Wentz last night, opening up and looking at a couple of even props and ways in which you can get some value on it. But for me and you, and knowing this football team as well as we do collectively, why not look at the opposite effect here, which is taking on a Giants team that is so bad all over the place that even if you were trying to find one of these, well, the quarterback to the tight end combination could really hurt the Eagles because the Eagles stink at cover. Look at the linebacker situation. And, Ingram's not terrible by any means, and you've got a pretty competent tight end that can get open at least, and all Daniel Jones has to do is just, just kind of like, the football. But this doesn't scare me, nor should it scare. And again, I'm not talking about from a rah-rah, beat-the-chest standpoint. I'm talking more so from a extend the line standpoint. How much would you be willing to extend it? And I think that we might even have to bring back the show poll right now. But how much would you be willing to push the alternate line on this game Thursday night? I told you already, for me, I pushed it to 10. And it's a risk. I'm not locking it in. This isn't some Lockerson, just boom, take it, move with it. Selling picks on a 900 number. Take this, take this, take this. I'm just saying, for me, it was a confidence boost when I saw the line shift again, especially seeing some money get poured in with the return of Deshaun Jackson. Take that for what it's worth. Lane Johnson, we know, at least is going to go out there and try to play. If that's pushing the line 2 points, then my confidence level gets pushed 2 more points. Now we're at 8. And I'm thinking, well, if they can cover 8, then they should be able to win this game by more than that. And now we're pushing in the range of 13 to 16-point victory, which, again, that magic number of 10 comes into play. And I didn't push it. I should have. The coward in me stopped short at the 10.5. and got the full plus 190 or so. But I did raise it over the 9.5 for that extra point, knowing knowing that there would be a good return. So for me, it was push it to 10. For you, it might be drop it. You might be looking at sacrificing some juice here just to get it down to 4, back to 4, 4.5. Maybe you're not confident, and I don't know how that point could ever be reached, that you're not confident in that regard. I am, though. I know that for a fact. I'm confident, and I think you should be as well in pushing this thing. Now, let's look at where we stand overall. Because looking at a couple of major props that you can get in this game aside, and we'll do that in a couple of minutes, the line has moved back up now to 5.5. Knowing this thing opened at a good number around this, too, 6, dropped immediately to 4, even 3.5, depending on where you looked at it. And now it's back up 5.5. What's changed? A lot of money, a ton of heavy money moving around? No. It hasn't at all. That hasn't changed. What's changed is, well, I'm saying as far as like with nothing on the field or the team changing. But what's truly changed this to where people have tried to create some sort of window is bringing it down to 4, 3.5. And a lot of that is just a ton of public money that gets put on there. But it was all about Deshaun Jackson and Lane Johnson. People were that concerned and actually took the Giants. Maybe that's the biggest takeaway here at all, is that people actually took the Giants because they thought for some reason that that game was going to be tight, come down to the middle. Come down to a 3.5 point, meaning 4-point victory there. I'll never see that until it's over. You'll never convince me in the next day and a half that the Eagles are in trouble, in jeopardy of not covering a full touchdown line against this team. And I think a big part of it is what they just did 2 weeks in a row. And I would never pile any moral victory upon each other, but let's just look at the difference. 2 teams coming in off a short week. And I keep hearing about how this Giants team competes. This Giants team comes out and truly competes each and every game. No matter what the end score is, you know that this Joe Judge team is going to compete. Well, first off, the Philadelphia Eagles have put together 3 and now a third years of that. And where is the real competition in games? They lose by 10 right away to the Steelers. Okay, they kept it close against Chicago. Their one win came against Washington. We have a different viewpoint of Washington, even though they're still 1-5. And they lose to Dallas because they were just more miserable that day than Dallas was. Seriously, their defense was just worse. Think about that. How bad is your defense that when you go head-to-head, your defense was worse? Against what offense, too? Worse. Remember, that was the day in which Andy Dalton took over. And they couldn't take advantage at all of anything. Pathetic. And they come off this short week, and people are jumping on it. And I know you're jumping on it. You think that there's some sort of momentum here. You think that there's some buildup here because New York is going to turn around. Oh, Darius Slayton is back. Who cares? It doesn't matter if Sterling Shepard returns from turf toe. Not at all. This team is so bad right now. Daniel Jones is not going to turn into Phil Simms or Jeff Hostetler for a day. I don't know what people are looking at with this Giants team that convinces them head-to-head with this Eagles team that they have anything, including whatever home field advantage might be here for Philadelphia. Remember, we have to add that on it as well. Lane Johnson, the numbers when Lane plays with Carson Wentz, astronomically in the Eagles' favor. Doug Peterson on Thursday night is a monster. You want to talk about competitive, it was, granted, the defense was more allowing it than not, but even still they started to tight up and it didn't matter. Ravens game, Steelers game was competitive despite the Eagles playing with nobodies again. And I don't mean personally, I'm just saying compared to the other team. This is not over the last 3 games and 1, maybe 2 drives. This is a team that looks much different than the New York Giants. And it's totally unfair to the Philadelphia Eagles to not extend this line, at least in my opinion, when betting this game. Make it a stretch. Push it a little bit. Know that you're going to get a hell of a return. Again, I'm not messing here. Just look at the return that you're going to get for extending this line already. At -10, I got in at +175. So as this thing shifts and as more people react to injuries and things along those lines, looking at another element of the alternate lines, you still have an opportunity right now to get in at 7, 7.5, and get a good return. So, right now it sits at 5.5. And this is where I would ask you. Think to yourself. You can hit me up at Twitter at Shander Show. What are the odds? Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler, presented, of course, by Cure Auto Insurance. Buddy from Fox 29, Sean Bell's going to join us coming up in about 10 minutes. We'll chat with Sean and talk a little bit about this TV show that we're on. And, look, I'm new to this world, so I'm just happy to be around. But Sean and I will talk a lot about the games. We'll go through everything. And at 7:30 tonight, our pal Michael Calabrese from the Action Network and Saturday Down South, red hot, mind you, sent the text, crossed over 70% for the month of October on all published Twitter picks for college. So pay attention. That's why we bring Michael on. He's value through the roof, value for days. -6.5 is going to get you +105. Even money at -6. Are we really talking about a one-possession game? How does this happen? Take me through if, in fact, you truly believe that the New York Giants keep this close. Is it because the Philadelphia Eagles offense is so inept right now that you're going to find an angle or two if you're the Giants defense, create a turnover or 10? You're going to find an angle if you're the Giants offense to take the lead and put the pressure on the Eagles to have some sort of game-tying or game-winning drive with 8 or 9 minutes left in the fourth. How bad would it be? This would be worse than any game to date. Again, I want you to understand that. For the Eagles to be in that situation, for the Eagles to be down 8 with 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter, Carson Wentz gets the ball 1st and 10 on their own 30. That would be worse than any situation that they've been in to date this year. This year, where they're 1-4-1. Even the Rams game, you knew that this team was just better. There was nothing you could do, man. There was just nothing. It was like when your big brother or sister had you pinned. And you fought and you struggled and you wiggled your way out of it thinking, all right, let me get this thing. Nope, get you right back. And then it's a harder pin at that point because you wiggled out the first time. You're not going to get out this time, you son of a... Rams, they had you pinned. Nothing you could do. Washington, I hate to break it to you, even though they lost just now head-to-head, they're miserable on offense, absolutely miserable. But their defense has been playing well, especially up front. Eagles lost. Eagles were unprepared. Eagles lost that game, and it was a bad loss. But now that we've seen who everybody is, and even still with that head-to-head, the defense with New York is so much worse than Washington, and their offense is probably similar to where losing or at least being down in this game would be more of a slap in the face. Simply because the Giants have showed their you-know-what. Other hand, Washington has also revealed themselves, but they're both kind of there. It's funny, even if you look at how many points Washington has given up total, they're technically a worse defense, but that's total points allowed over the course of 6 games, as opposed to a combination of individual matchups, that front, especially that front. And also knowing that some come in chunks, but others not so much. Now, they've consistently got lit up by good teams. And, yeah, we still have to call the Browns a good team. As of right now, despite Baker Mayfield's comments of 4-2, feel like 0-6, we still have to throw him in there as a good football team. Impossible at this point. Impossible for me to think anything other than this Philadelphia Eagles team stretches this line. So, if you're as confident as I am, you can push this sucker all the way up to 8, 8.5, and really get some value. I get it. Mine was on the bookend from one side, which is a rational, reasonable bet, and the other side being belligerent. I was definitely on the side of belligerence, more so at least. More a belligerent bet than not, but it's grounded in reason. I might have shot up and out in a way in which wasn't meant to be controlled when I actually placed the bet, but it wasn't like I just signed up on an app and said, well, let me see, closed my eyes, threw a dart at the board, and came away with this, -8 plus 135. It's the same as 7.5, right? That makes sense because you're going to lay the same, and it's going to be a push at 8. 150 for 8.5 and 9. Now, the difference of 9.5, this is it, the difference of 9.5 and 10. Normally, you would see something similar, right, where 8.5 and 9 the same, because you'll still have to clear 8.5 with the same number 9. I know math is hard for me, too. Trust me. That's why I talk it out with you. But the difference between 9.5 and 10 right now for the Philadelphia Eagles is plus 150 to plus 170. That was worth it for me. That alone is worth the push here. I don't even feel like the push is in play, but you can't feel like the push is in play. You know that it's a built-in insurance method. Okay, you get your money back if it's parlayed or tagged with something else, then such is life. But at least now, able to stretch that thing as wide as 10 under. Now, if you really want to go bold here, you can grab that hook, but you're only gaining an extra 5 points. So is it truly worth it? From 150 to 170, you're damn right it was worth that risk. That's what I love about this. On the flip side, how confident are you that it's going to be tight? Here's the thing. If you're taking the Giants right now, if you're betting the New York Giants on this line at plus 5.5, then you might as well drop it. It's the same scenario here. Again, it's not often that we have games that play out this way, but it's the same scenario here. You know, it truly becomes the same scenario, which is looking at these two teams, looking at where this line is, and knowing that it's not going to play out that way. This is not going to finish in some weird, bizarre 5-6 point game. So take advantage of it. What are the odds this game finishes right on the money? Not good for me. Slim to none for me. So it's all about your own narrative. I've already created this narrative in my head, and you're not going to budge me on it. The Philadelphia Eagles are going to roll. The Philadelphia Eagles are going to have their way right now with this New York Giants team, without a doubt. I have zero issue. However, at the same time, I recognize that there are lunatics out there who do think the opposite. And this is not political Twitter where you're unable to have any type of dissenting opinion, no matter how ridiculous or absurd, and maybe rightfully so it would be to shut down that opinion. I'm willing to at least listen to how crazy it may sound, knowing that I'll never budge. But if, in fact, you're on that line, that specific line of thinking, and, well, the Giants here, they've got this. 5.5. I'm all over that. Yeah, I lost some value here at 6 initially, but it's back up to 5.5. How are you not pushing that down? It can't be 6 points. It's either going to be a Philadelphia Eagles blowout, or it's going to be a tight game, like a field goal game. And guess what? The Giants, if you bust them down to plus 3.5, you can get them at 105. Is that really worth it? Is that really worth it to go from minus 110 to 105? and lose 2 full points. Well, if you're really bold on this and you want to take 2 options to push this Giants can keep it close narrative, I think the limit, at least if I was a lunatic, the limit would be +3 at +135 and +2.5 at +160. I don't know. Maybe it's just the 1-4-1 in me. Maybe it's just this team has led to some boring football so far. But I don't think this line plays straight up at all. I would look at pushing it either way. You think the Giants, basically on this specific line determines on which extreme you would play. This is a game of extremes to me. That's where the value is. At Shander Show, we'll chat with our buddy Sean Bell coming up from Fox 29. An hour from now, Michael Calabrese from Saturday Down South and the Action Network. Lot happening here. What are the odds? Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. It's presented by Cure Auto Insurance.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
All right, so do I need to call Sean Bell?
No, I'm going to bring him on the stream. How much time do I have?
This is 2 minutes.
Can you give me another, 90?
Do you want a double break?
Washington to Mid County. That's a crash. The left lane.
Because the other one's 4 minutes, so we'll come back at 35, or is that too long of a segment?
No, that's fine.
Earlier,
come back at 35 and then break at, 56?
As well. Jet up on the Schuylkill westbound University.
Yeah, break at 56, yep.
All right, to tell total traffic.
This report is sponsored by CVS.
So, yeah, we'll come back around 35, 36. So, yeah, then you'll have basically a 20-minute segment. So, yeah, that's good. That's perfect.
Got it.
Lower your prescription costs. Visit CVS today. Savings vary. Not all patients eligible for savings. Ask pharmacist for details.
Just because you've been with the car insurance company for years doesn't mean you're getting the best rate. Almost all insurance companies use your credit score, education level, and your employment status to determine your rate, but not Cure Auto Insurance. Last time I checked, those things have nothing to do with your driving ability. Cure bases rates primarily on what really matters, how well you drive. Did you know a study showed if you don't have a 700-plus credit score, you could be paying over 50% more for car insurance,
that was crazy.
even without an accident or ticket.
Is it like
Go to Cure.com and see how much you could be saving.
Yeah, so they'll switch it, not on the board, but I guess the access line, they switch it to something else. Like on the weekends, they use the access line for Gargano and his show in the morning on Saturdays.
Okay.
So it's just, yeah, they use it for different shows from time to time. Which I told Sean, they just gotta let us know, hey, we used it.
Insurance, drive well.
Because
Right.
I don't know until the moment you come on and say it's busy or something, then that's the first way I know that, okay, they probably used it.
$7.99. Shoes for the family are $29.99 and under. And
Just a little unorganized.
Yeah.
just
It's all
a
good.
little
though.
more for your wallet with Kohl's Cash.
If that's the
Roll
worst
with the
thing that
punches.
happens at a
Right,
radio
exactly,
station,
yeah.
you know?
Wednesday
Honestly,
through
I'll
Sunday
trade
at
technical
Kohl's and
issues
Kohl's.com.
with being
Select styles,
freaking
store, or Kohl's.com
miserable
for
at
details.
work every single day, and that's not the case at that point.
Attention.
Is awesome.
Right. Yeah. Oh, exactly.
You know? Seriously.
It's time to beat your bookie. Every Thursday night at 6 p.m. on The Gambler, Super Bowl champ Barrett Brooks takes you inside the game and puts you on the right side.
They like Miles Sanders because he gives you that versatility out of the backfield, but you also have to account for him running the rock.
Philly, be sure to catch Beating Your Bookie every Thursday at 6 p.m. on Fox Sports The Gambler. Always streaming on the iHeartRadio app.
How much time we got?
Everyone knows, even good
4 minutes.
Yo.
credit cards get maxed out.
What up, bro?
What up, man? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. What about you?
I'm well, man. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it's a little low for me, but
Freeze your bank accounts. Even your home or business could be.
Yeah, it was low on our end, too. I have you blasted all the way up.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, hold on.
I didn't mention it. It wasn't really a big deal.
To ask about the Fresh Start Initiative. It's a special
All right,
IRS
I just
debt
jacked
assistance
up a
program
little bit
that
on
could
my
save you
end
thousands,
for
even
the radio
tens of
station.
thousands if you qualify. Optima will immediately
see.
provide you with a team of professionals who will fight to protect you from the IRS, ensuring you get the best possible outcome. The Better Business Bureau has awarded them an A+ rating, and
How's
you
that?
will
Check
too.
1 2
So
1
put the
2.
hard times
yeah, you good. I can hear you. It's lower than what it usually is.
Call 800-354-2840.
Do you have headphones in?
800-354-2840.
Nah, I usually just go off of here.
40.
Okay, that might be it then.
Some restrictions apply. For complete
sometimes
details,
what
please visit
happens is the
HuffmanTaxRelief.com.
program itself.
At
you don't have,
JCPenney's
you
Power
don't need
Penny
Apple,
Days,
but that's
the prices
fine.
bring
But
good cheer
sometimes,
for all.
like if I
Jumpstart
do
your
this
holiday
program on
saving
my
with
phone,
$7
and
select
I do stuff on
JCPenney
the
home
phone,
quick dry towels and
when I get a
$15
return
select
back,
St. John's Bay
it's a
sweaters for
little
her or
lower than
flannels for
normal.
him.
Yeah.
Plus,
You want me to go
get
to your
50%
phone?
off a coupon or shop
It's up to
stunning
you.
$19 select
If it's a
1/10
problem
carat
for
diamond
you,
jewelry.
then yes.
Short on
If
time.
not, then
Shop
we're good.
online.
I'll get them real
Website.
quick.
The holidays
Okay.
are starting
Okay.
early at JCPenney. Offer valid 10/22 to 10/25. Conditions and exclusions
And does
apply.
that sound
Jewelry
any
offer
better on
excluded from
our
coupon.
end, John?
See
Like
store
any
or
louder?
JCPenney.com for details.
Yeah, you sound good.
Oh.
Sean's a little loud, but I don't know if there's much we can do about that.
Yeah, I can actually I can
You
turn
get the
him down.
farmer's
So
signal.
I have a couple of I have a
2%.
mixer for the computer.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah,
Driving
so I
like
can
the
turn
normal
him
speed
down.
limit, hearing full stop, making lane change signaling.
Yeah,
then
just
everything
a little
feeds-
Bit, but
okay.
Yeah, everything
Perks. Start with a quote by calling 1-800-FARMERS. Now for the legal something.
Not available in every state and discount varies. Only available with select Farmers branded policy. Subject to terms and conditions underwritten by Farmers.
2 minutes.
Cleanings, checkups, and cavities? Have Dr. Chang's dental practice at capacity.
Patient in room 1 is getting a root canal. The x-rays in room 2 are going to have to wait. We're down to 1 hygienist.
It's time to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do.
I don't know
The
how I
moment
would
you
pay
sponsor a
you.
job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019.
Is that any better
Visit
on your end?
Indeed.com.
Yeah, I'm good.
$75 credit.
Yeah, perfect on this end too.
Okay, thanks.
Everything's perfect.
All right. let
And
me
you,
just,
Miss Garner.
With the
put this
Capital One
tweet out
Venture
real
Card,
quick.
you earn unlimited double miles on every purchase every day.
Objection! My credit card doesn't earn double miles on every purchase.
I object to your objection. With the Capital One Venture Card, you earn unlimited double miles on every purchase order. And right now, earn 100,000 bonus miles when you spend $20,000 in your first year.
All right, so
I
the
don't know.
stream is
No
live,
further
just so you
questions,
know,
Your Honor.
even
Well,
during
just one.
breaks.
What to
I got you.
Limited time offer. Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
I can hear my feedback. I don't know if y'all can do anything about that.
And a mild low of 62.
You can hear your
Tomorrow,
feedback.
a foggy
Yeah.
start gives way to a
Okay, hold on
partly
one sec.
sunny afternoon, a high of 7.
But not when
Is
it
that any
comes to
better?
managing your prescriptions. That's
Let
why
me.
we offer
Yeah, I'm good. That's fine.
ways
Okay.
that may help lower your prescription costs. Visit CVS today.
And you're good, John,
Savings
right?
vary.
Yeah.
Eligible for savings. Ask pharmacist for
Yeah,
details.
you never know, man. You know.
Oh yeah, I think we found that out this week.
That's
Never
right.
know when you're live
Of spooky
on the stream.
featuring 13 days of Halloween.
It happens.
Yeah, look, I mean, I'm not worried that
Please,
Sean's going to pull a tubing or anything, but
one per day through Halloween. In
What's the tube in?
that's
in
the dude who
center
got
of the
caught
story. Best
naked
experience
on the
with
Zoom
headphones.
cam.
Tap podcasts in the iHeartRadio app to find this.
That's right, doing his due.
Full of podcasts, sure to make you squirm.
Oh my goodness.
Here we go.
All right, we're back. What are the odds? Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler, presented by Pure Auto Insurance. And technically, we head out to the Dr. Glatt Regrow Your Hairline. Dr. Paul Glatt, Philadelphia's leading hair restoration doctor. But if you're following along on the stream right now, and that's the Twitch or the Twitter feed at Shander Show, our friend from Fox 29, of course, you can see him. Fox 29, top anchor here, as well as part of the new Props and Locks Thursday night, 7 o'clock live. And you could see him on the stream as well. What's up, man?
What up, man? What's up, player? How you feeling?
You know, things are okay right now. I'm feeling great, unlike I think a lot of people with their football team here. But you know, this is one of those, like, I think this is one of those moments in a season where you're either going to fall off the face of the planet, like somebody's going to jump off the bridge, metaphorically, of course, or this team is going to bring out the, man, if they could only win 2 more, then watch. You make it into playoffs, you get healthy, you make a run. Next thing you know, we're talking about a Super Bowl. Like, I feel like it's going to be one or the other, and this Giants game is going to be the determining factor.
Man, listen, all right, like, who do you think you are? Like, do they really have that type of confidence where they think, oh, if we just get in and Nick Foles is in, we can make a real run? Right? Like, my question is, I feel like this Super Bowl thing is out of pocket. My question is, do you want a high draft pick or do you want to make the playoffs and be bounced in the first round? Because I feel like that's the only two situations right here.
I don't know if they can. Well, can they even control it? You know, like it's one thing if you're Sam Hinkie and you're putting out guys who wouldn't make the G League. I don't know. Now, the injuries, to your point, yes. But can they control it? Like, or are they just that bad? You think like if they just don't touch anything, they don't trade anybody, they don't trade for anybody, they're just that bad that they're going to fall into a top pick.
With injuries, they're that bad. That's what I think. Like, what are you going to do? Like, this defense is, like I said before, Jimmy Garoppolo plays in that game when they played the 49ers. That's a loss. That's an easy loss. So you're lucky to have that win. So that's your only win. You got to tie. Who are you better than, really?
Hopefully the Giants, man. Hopefully at least. Like, do you realize this has to be one of the worst? This is a Chip Kelly level loss if they lose this game to the Giants.
Hey, this is worse than a Chip Kelly loss, all right? Chip Kelly was winning some games. I know we don't want to give him some credit, but he did
You're right.
win some games, and he wasn't awful. He wasn't 13-1 his final year. So, listen, this Giants team is one of the worst teams I've seen in a long time. Like, their offensive line, I did pick them to win last week and was randomly right about that, but that was just a random stabbing, you know what I mean, in the dark. But, like, that offensive line, I talk to people all the time because I'm a Penn State dude. I'm a Penn State grad. Saquon Barkley's my guy. They have wasted his career. He has an all-time talent and will go down in the scrap heap just because the Giants organization and offensive line are one of the worst in the entire football league. So if you lose this game, if you lose to an offensive line like that, if you allow them to score a lot of points, then you should scrap the season altogether and just say, I want a top 3 pick.
Yeah, exactly. And again, what they'll probably do is lose to this team, this god-awful Giants team, and find a way to beat Cleveland, Arizona, some games late in the season and mess up this whole thing and finish right in the middle of the draft where it was like, what are you doing? You had a perfect opportunity. You're right. If they lose this game, then they should punt. They should just, I don't know how you do that in the NFL, but they should technically just punt at that point. But think about it. What's most likely going to happen, like what would be total Eagles, especially in this bizarre 2020, what would be total Eagles would be to lose Thursday night, beat the Cowboys, or maybe lose to Dallas. Now all of a sudden it's like, oh, this team. And then all of a sudden they've got 2 games in which nobody gives them any shot to do, Seattle and like New Orleans. They win that, and then you come back to it, and that messes up their draft pick overall, even though we all were like, why did you not just lose when you had the opportunity to?
But to me, that's the old Eagles. That's the Eagles who were a lot better and had more talent, who did these quirky things. I don't think they can help it this time. Like, just think about having to face the Giants with the team they have and how bad they're losing. Like, they punted against the Baltimore Ravens, like you're saying. Like Lane Johnson, Deshaun Jackson, they said, sit down, be healthy, play Thursday.
Yeah.
All right. Like, that's what they did. We're going to give you an extra week because that game doesn't matter if we lose that. We need to win the Giants. So they punted last game so they can have an opportunity to win this Thursday night. So I think Doug Peterson knows everything is riding on this. You punted for this game. If you lose this game, and I know the division is awful, but if you lose this game, listen, that's top 5 pick situation because those guys aren't going to get any better. No one's going to get that much more healthy. It's a wrap.
Dallas is banged up too, big time. And it's not just, as we know, it's not just Dak. I think they're down to like their 3rd string tackles as well. I just worry, man. Like, I worry that a 5-win team might get into the playoffs. 5 or 6 wins might get you into the playoffs, man.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And I think the Cowboys, listen, last week I said Andy Dalton would step up. I apologize to you, Eitan. I apologize for the foolery that I gave you. It wasn't.
No, you've been spot on with a lot of stuff on props and locks. So you're allowed. I'm not even going to tell you my record and when I'm actually telling people what to use their money on. You're giving the insight on the game. I'm telling people how to lose money. So I can't say anything, but it wasn't all your fault on Dalton, to be fair, Sean. Zeke was a big culprit.
Yeah, Zeke. There was a drop pass for a touchdown, I believe. I think it was Michael Gallup. I forget who it was. So I do think Andy Dalton will play better, but behind an offensive line, he's a guy who's a statue. So Dak gets to run around and do what he does and still make plays despite the offensive line being broken down. Andy Dalton can't do that. But I will say this. I will say that Carson Wentz, and I said before Andy Dalton would maybe be the best quarterback if he's playing well. I will say what I saw out of Carson Wentz has changed my mind a little bit on who he is. I think he's better than who I thought he was just because you saw what he had to do to galvanize his team. I'm not running out of bounds. I'm going to try to truck people. He gained so much weight from this season to last season. He's lost some speed. He's lost some agility because of it, but he gained weight so he can take the punishment and give out the punishment. The fact that he was running into people and doing what he does and showing that I'm desperate and I'm going to lead this team had other players behind him go, oh, I gotta work that hard. I gotta work harder. And those players followed suit. So I think just his toughness can win some extra games and maybe come close to winning this division down the stretch. And I think that's but I think he has to do that in the first quarter. He has to go out and say, I got to truck people. I got to put my body in harm's way. I got to do something to get this team motivated to win because we got to sort of play over our heads to end up winning this division.
You're right. That's been a huge issue is they can't get squat going in the first. But then again, that might be the biggest problem with even if they lose Thursday night. I can't even believe we're talking about the possibility of them losing to a team this bad. If they lose Thursday night, then what do you do with that Carson factor? Because it's like having Jimmy Butler out on the floor when you're trying to lose as many games as possible. It's like you're counterproductive at that point. You know, you could tell, hey, Jimmy, man, we're not trying to win right now. We're trying to get you some help. And Butler, he's not going to listen. He's going to go out and drop 40 on somebody and be like, hey, man, I'm sorry, I forgot. Wentz is the same cat, right? Where it's like if they lose and they fall to 1-5-1 and they have to take on a Cowboys team the following week after that long stretch, I wonder if you just start putting Hurts in more just to justify taking the ball out of Carson's hands. Because you're right, man. That's a great word. He galvanized that team, put him on his own back and said, screw this. If I can't complete a pass, I'm going to tuck it and run 30 yards. I don't know how you tank for a pick or at least hope you lose at the very least, Sean, with that dude out there.
Oh, and you can't because Carson's job is also on the line. Like the way he started off the season and the way his contract and you have next year and do we give him another deal from there and yada, yada, yada. People are questioning whether he could be a Super Bowl franchise quarterback. Like he can't miss snaps. Like if I'm him, you're not putting Jalen Hurts in.
Nope.
Because if he makes some plays, this city, half the city already wants me out. So I need to show what I can do. I don't want that guy on the field. I don't want that guy showing that he can possibly be a better quarterback in the future than me. Now, Carson has to play well despite losing, and he has to prove that he is the guy to move forward, whether they win or lose. He has to make sure if we lose, it's on y'all. It's not on me because his job could be gone.
So let me ask you then this angle of it, because we were talking about it before you came on, and you know it's going to come up tomorrow. Props and Locks every Thursday night, 7 o'clock, live on Fox 29. That's Sean Bell. And again, you can follow Sean on Twitter at Sean Bell Live, at Shander Show for me. Sean on the stream, but on the Dr. Glatt Regrow Your Hairline. Dr. Paul Glatt, Philadelphia's leading hair restoration doctor.
I need that.
You ready?
I need that, man. I need
something. Come on, a sleek dude like yourself. I thought you're bald by choice, not by circumstance, like me.
Oh no, I had to beat the curve. I knew it was coming, so I shaved it off. So I had to beat the curve.
When did you first start realizing, like, hey man, if I don't jump this curve, it's gonna jump me?
My hairline got funky like 3 years ago, and I was like, all right, it's about time. So you start cutting it really, really low. And then after that, I want to say 2 years ago, I said, yo, it's done. I'm not even going to try to grow this thing back to see what it is.
Okay, so you're not old, but you're not young either.
No, I'm in the in-between stage.
You're in your mid-30s, right?
Yes, 36.
Okay, so that happened 33, 32, 33?
Yeah.
Do you realize how long, like, that's a hell of a stretch run you had, man. 32 years. I was out at 23. 23 years old doing job interviews with a bald head.
But you got to understand, my brother, Don Bell, sportscaster in Philadelphia. Yeah. This man is 42 years old with full hair.
Great head of hair.
Great head of hair, perfect hairline.
Yep.
So how does that make me look? They like, are you the older brother because you the bald one? Like, that pisses me off, like, to no extent.
A lot of that?
Yes, I do. Like, wait, which one's older? And he looks young. So it's like, man, how does he get those genes? And I get the balding.
Yeah, but I feel like you guys are a perfect balance, because every experience I've ever had with the two of you, of course, individually, and I love it about you because you are the eternal, and so much of me is similar to you in regards of we are eternal pessimists. Like, man, I'm not believing anything. And Don is just this big bubble of positive energy. So I could see that already. Like, you're already, like me, just like, man, whatever. I'm not believing anything till I taste it. So that has a thing on your face. You know what I mean? Like, you wear that. Like, I wear that. Like, all of us wear that. So I think that might add age, at least the perception of age, to you as well.
Well, I mean, when the hairline goes, what do you got to be positive about? You know what I mean? I had to be a pessimist. You know what I mean? I had to grow a beard to balance it out. You know what I mean? That's why we grow beards.
All right, so we'll hook you up with Dr. Glad. He's the best in town, by all means, for sure. Get a little endorsement out of that for you too, because you can go through and run the entire process, and we can see the transformation. Shaved head to now. You'll have Dom be texting like, whoa, what happened, man? What happened?
See, I want to be young and pretty again too.
There you go. So let me ask you this then. What's more likely to happen? Because we were floating this around right now, and the line is right around 5.5, and you can look at it from where the bookmakers like it at 5.5. But I'm thinking that there can be really one of two ways this thing can go. Do you think it's more likely that this is a 3-point game, or that this is a 10 plus, like 12 to 14 point victory? Do you think the Eagles win by 3, or do you think that it's more like nothing in between? So it can't be 6, 7, anything like that. It's either 3 or less, meaning they lose, or 11 or more that they win by. So what do you think the two scenarios is more likely to happen? Because I bet on one, and I'm not going to tell you which one until you tell me which one's more, in your opinion.
That's tough, because honestly, the likelihood is like 8. But if I had to make one of those, I had to make one of those bets, I'm not betting for either one of those teams to have a 10, 11 point victory. Like, nothing about these teams showed me that they can win a game or separate when they win that game, right? Like, and even in a losing factor, like with the Steelers or with the who was last week, the Ravens, you saw what they did late, right? You saw Carson come back and bring it within 2, bring it into a 2-point conversion, tie the game up. So I'm going to say within 3. I think the Giants have some confidence winning the game last week. I think they have a little more swag. I think Daniel Jones is playing better. I'm not a believer in Carson Wentz and that offensive line, right? I think that offensive line is still going to give Carson some problems. So I think it's going to be a tight, ugly game that's going to be 3 points, 2 points.
Man, I bet the other way. But here's the thing. I got a ton of value on it, and I didn't throw a lot. I just threw a little piece of change on it, but I'm thinking, I'm like you. This is probably going to end somewhere like 8 or 9, but I saw this thing jump at 10, and I thought, you know what? Why not? I'll just stretch out a little bit, take a risk. But I think it's going to be either way. I think it's going to be close, to your point. I don't think it's a blowout right away. Like, I don't think we see this Eagles team up 24-3 or 24-6 at the half. It's probably going to be a struggle for the first half. I just don't know if New York can keep up at the end, knowing that they just don't have enough talent. But there's something about Wentz too, where I'm not even worried who's playing anymore. And look, a lot of that, probably all of that is the Giants, right? I'm not going to make the same argument even against Dallas, but I mean, how much does it really matter if Deshaun plays or doesn't play from a they're going to win standpoint? Lane Johnson, they're going to win standpoint. It might, but I'm saying it probably shouldn't, as bad as New York is.
Yeah, it shouldn't. But you also got to think about this. You don't no Zach Ertz, right? Like no Goddard. And I know Zach Ertz has been getting killed, but the broadcaster reminded me the other day, Jalen Ramsey was guarding Zach Ertz, right? When people aren't seeing a number one wideout or even a number two wideout, they're going to put their best cornerback on Zach Ertz and lock him down, or they're going to game plan to make sure he doesn't get off. So that's been happening to Zach Ertz for the first part of this year now. So now you don't have Zach Ertz. Who are defenses game planning to? Like, take away Fulgham, and what else are you going to do? And Deshaun Jackson he's forever hurt. Who knows what you're going to get from him? So take away Fulgham. What is, like you said, who is Carson Wentz going to throw to after that? There's no Zach. Fulgham's going to be doubled or have the best corner on him. Lock that down. So I don't see a lot of points. Yeah, Greg Ward, who's the king of getting 6-yard gains, well, he gets no yak.
I'm telling you. All right, I got it. This is the JJ. This is the J-Jaw breakout. The J-Jaw. And wouldn't it be typical JJ Arcega-Whiteside to just blast out here 9 catches, $150, 2 touchdowns, and then we never hear from him again? He doesn't. He has like 3 catches the rest of the season. It would be something crazy like that.
Come on, is there a bet on him? I'll take the under. I'll take the under if there's a bet out there for what Arcega will provide in this game. It could be 1 catch for 1 yard, and I think I'd take the under.
He's probably at a half a catch. You're right.
Like I don't trust anybody on that field. And again, I know Daniel Jones is bad. I like that guy. I like him. Yeah. I think if this wasn't such a terrible team in the Giants and Joe Judge, he would have a promising future. So I could still see him doing something. And then, it's the battle of the Dariuses on the other end. So who gets the best of that situation?
You mentioned Joe Judge. So we're going to take a break. Be back at the top of the hour. Sean's going to hang out with us as well. Again, at Sean Bell Live on Twitter, at Shander Show. Sean joining us on the Dr. Glatt Regrow Your Hairline. Dr. Paul Glatt, Philadelphia's leading hair restoration doctor. Judge threw down a gauntlet for his family. He had some crazy expectation for people because he's from this area. So it's a homecoming for him. And as a Penn State man that you are, I wanted to put it in perspective where something as just like Eagles Giants would be as much of an insult to somebody like you who went to Penn State, similar to doing this against Ohio State. So that we'll run through all the games of the weekend, get your thoughts on it, run through rapid fashion as well. Hang here with us. What are the odds? Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler, presented by Cure Auto Insurance.
Dan Patrick, 9 to noon.
All right, how much time we got?
3:30.
Okay, cool. So how much
with Sean Brace from 3 to 6 p.m. Only
have you
one
ever
place
watched
you
Dancing
can
with the
find
Stars?
that. Oh, here's to it. Right here on Fox Sports
Back in the
Radio, The Gambler.
Back in the day. Okay. Now, John, how much do you know about
now?
Back in the day, too, when it was like first going
How
on.
how long has this been going on?
For like over 20 seasons.
20 seasons?
It does spring and fall, I think. So it's like 2 per season.
It's been like 10, 12 years or something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, shit. I got 29 right now. Okay.
South
So
of 95,
season
heavy
29.
from Compton to Bridge. The Vine
So it's probably like 14 years or something like that.
So how long has it been since either one of you have watched
right
this?
lane getting by Larry Tutela too.
Oh, I was in high school.
This report is sponsored
Well, how
by
old are you now? Put it in
CVS.
perspective for me.
I'm 26.
All right, so 10 years ago?
Yeah, basically.
All right,
Prescriptions.
that's not
That's why
terribly
CVS
long.
has a tool
If
designed
I
to
say
look
like,
for ways
oh, I
that
was
may
in high
help lower
school.
your prescription
I'm
costs.
42,
Visit
man. That's a long
CVS
I don't know. It feels like a long time to me. It feels like it was 8
for details.
Just because you've
my
been with the
goodness.
car insurance company
Yeah.
for
ages ago in college was literally
Could you
credit
like
score,
could both of
education
you
level,
have you
and
watched
your
it
employment
enough
status to determine
to
your
where
rate,
you could
but not
handicap
Cure
it
Auto
and
Insurance.
say, well,
Last time I checked,
I don't know what
those
that
things have
person.
nothing to do with your
like,
driving ability.
I haven't
Cure
seen
base
all
is rated
29
primarily
seasons,
on
but I
what
know
really matters.
fill
how
in the
well
blank
you drive.
isn't going to be able to
Did you
cut
know
it.
a study
Like, I
showed
know
if you
like
don't have a
Johnny
700
Weir
plus credit score
is the odds-on favorite right now.
more for car insurance?
Oh, I could judge in that manner if you give me who the contestants
Yeah,
are.
that's what I figured.
Yeah.
Getting the quote is quick and easy, and it's free. Plus, they have outstanding and convenient
that's
service.
crazy.
They offer.
That
But at the end, I believe it's also a popularity contest, right? Like, isn't the winner voted?
Yeah, it's partly the judges and then partly of popularity.
Yeah.
5 Cure. That's
It's usually the pop. A lot of times it's the athletes. The athlete gets in top 2 and then loses to the person who's more talented or something.
Mobile for Business. No.
Yeah, my trashy competition show as of late has been Masked Singer. Has been fun to watch.
Is
Our
that
best
right?
business plans.
It's really dumb, but I love it.
It's cloud storage and more.
So, Masked
Microsoft
Singer-
365
that's on Fox.
on
You
us
ever watch
gives
that
you
either?
the tools you need to run your business.
Sean?
Stop
What?
by a mobile
Do you
store
ever watch
today.
that show, Masked Singer?
Qualifying plan
I've never seen the episode. No.
Me neither, but I've seen previews of it.
Apply. CTMobile.com for plan.
Like,
It's completely ridiculous.
how do you even know who's singing? though?
Facebook knows.
They will give you clues. So basically, before each time they go out and sing, they'll do like a little video package,
Mail.
like hinting at things that they have done before and all of that.
Voting Information Center. Get information.
So like Daughtry used to play high school football, so we have like a football thing in there or something around that.
And they're all
Radio and Facebook
famous
called
singers?
Why I'm Voting.
Not famous singers, just celebrities in general.
Goes Why I'm Voting. Countdown to Election
Really?
Day. Your vote is your voice.
WDAS in
Interesting.
30 seconds.
Philadelphia is the
It's really dumb, though. I will make sure that it's clear.
Yeah,
It is a stupid show.
That's
but
fair.
It's garbage television and fun to watch.
Grab your phone because now is your chance to win 1,000.
Basically, if I'm just like hungover on a Monday, I'll just check out the rerun.
Information, text, and info. Standard data and message rates apply in this nationwide contest. That's love to 200-200.
Listen, everybody!
What are the odds you get great sports gambling talk with expert guests?
Oh, here it is.
Well, pretty good, actually. It's What's the Odds with Eitan Shander.
All right, hour 2 here. Still hanging. Fox 29's Sean Bell with us at Sean Bell Live on Twitter. And now that I know both you and John Jansen, who comes your way an hour from now, with the line change right here on Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler, presented by Cure Auto Insurance. He's stepping in and helping us. John will do anything, and he's great at everything. So he's a 5-tool player and able to produce the show tonight. So we're actually on the air. But I know nothing about Dancing with the Stars to the point where it's crazy as this may sound, and I know it probably sounds nuts to some people, but I haven't seen any of the 29 seasons. But I've found out that Sean and John are at least familiar enough with the show that if I were to throw out some names and some odds, we can kind of dance around and probably come up with some pretty good advice for people out there who wanted to bet it. Does that sound accurate?
Yeah, I think I could do that. I think I can. If you give me the contestants, I've seen people's names on Twitter, and I've seen certain highlights because my parents watch it, so I know a little bit.
Okay, just making sure. And John's here to help as well, because I'm not going to be of any help at all. All I have are the names and looking at it as far as odds themselves. But I mentioned this thing about the Joe Judge gauntlet that he's thrown down, right? And apparently he wants all of his blood relatives and anybody that he grew up with, all of the tight, like, inner circle, right? Everybody's got an inner circle. So he wants his inner circle, family, and anybody who's fortunate enough to be in the Joe Judge inner circle of friendship. If you're showing up at that game, even if you're representing, because, you know, they've got the family section too. If you are showing up at that game tomorrow night in South Philly, mind you, being a local, as everybody in that inner circle is, Sean, you're expected, according to Joe Judge, to wear New York Giants blue. I think that's putting your loved ones in a very difficult and, dare I even say, dangerous situation.
Nah, it's a fight. Like, you know, it's a fight. If you're an Eagles fan, you're gonna fight somebody. Like, we saw what it was last week, even when it was limited. So you're gonna tell your family members to do that. You're gonna come through in a Giants jersey. Like, are they ready for that? Are they ready for that action? Like, if your family is about that, then cool.
But think about this, right? It's not just that element of it, which is right on the money, where you're putting your loved ones, your cousin, your nephew, your grandfather, whoever it may be, you're putting people in physical harm, or at least in the way of physical harm, at the very least ridicule, as you laid out. But there's also, like, think about it. Everybody that he's talking about is from this area, from Bucks, Berks, those areas. So they've grown up going to Eagles games. It's not like they were going to Pittsburgh Steelers games or they're going up to, the Giants games, and now they're down here in this area. Think about it. If you had a blood relative that was playing at Ohio State and the game, let's just say the game's at Penn State, right? And he asked you, listen, man, it's an honor, love for you to come out here and watch me play. But if you're going to rock out anything, then I just ask that you rock an Ohio State hat to support me. Are you rocking that hat?
Hell no. Like, what are we talking about here? See, that's you. I was about to ask you, because you hit on the key thing. How close of a family member does it have to be to make you change alliance or at least represent that team? Like, how close? Like, if it's a cousin, nah, bro, I'm rocking my team. Like, Joe Judge, you are a cousin to me. I'm rocking my team. Or maybe maybe you're a cousin I love, so I won't wear a jersey at all, right? I won't wear a jersey or hat. I'll keep it neutral. But when I'm there, I'm still going to root for my team to beat you. Now, in the scenario of Ohio State, Penn State, I'm a Penn Stater. It's F my cousin. I'm never doing that. The only way I root for Ohio State team is if it's my child.
Okay.
If my child, exactly.
If my yours is playing quarterback or D line or any position. Now we get into like, what if he, what if he's not starting? What if it's like his redshirt freshman year and he's not starting, but you're out there watching and supporting him?
I'm supporting Ohio State, right? Like I support Penn State. I then have two teams, and you can't be mad at me. Like I'm going to support Penn State. I'm going to support Ohio State, and if they play each other, if my son is playing, I'm supporting Ohio State. If my son is not playing, then I'm supporting Penn State.
Fair enough. But
outside of that, no, I'll never do the Ohio State Penn State thing. Like,
so
it has to be my child.
Don comes up and says, "Hey, my son, he's starting quarterback, Ohio State. It's at Penn State. Can you make it? And if you make it, here's an Ohio State hat to rock in support of my son and your nephew." You're turning your back on him.
That's tough.
But isn't it difficult? Like, here's the thing. Yes, it's tough. That's a great answer. And that's the position that I think Joe Judge is putting people in unnecessarily, right? It's almost like if it's anybody, including a blood relative, they should be like, hey, just come down and support me, or at the very least, instead of asking them to rock Big Blue or Ohio State gear or whatever else that is apt in this comparison, Sean, it should probably just be like, hey, just don't wear Eagles, right? I mean, is that probably the easiest thing? Hey, man, come see me, but just if you can, just don't wear Penn State. You don't have to wear Ohio State. Just don't wear Penn State.
Just don't wear. And if it was my nephew, I would support. I'll take that back. I think I'll support. I'm not wearing your gear, right, but I will come and cheer for you to get a win. But Joe Judge is much worse because he's threatening you to get beat up. Like, he's putting you in a situation to get with hands and feet on you. Like, no, like you better put me. First of all, I better be in a box away from everybody else. I'll put my jersey on in the box when I get in the box. Then I'll take it off once I leave, so no one sees me walking around and some drunk fan don't want to get funny.
I think you nailed it though. Separation is key. That's that. Otherwise, you can't have somebody like you can't have your aunt and uncle sitting there in Gen Pop with Giants jerseys on, right?
Don't put me in. You don't love me that much anyway if you put me in Gen Pop. So I'm not rooting for your team. You didn't answer the question, Eitan. How close does a relative have to be for you?
See, I think I'm right there with you. I'm trying to think, brother, son, yes, like definitely in that category. I think I could get around that. And for me, I've always been closest to the Eagles of any team. I've always rooted for them since day one. So I would think like Dallas would probably be the natural, even Giants and Washington to a far lesser extent, Washington. But I mean, even being from up that way, and not being raised a Giants fan, I think it would probably take like son. I could do, nephew, like immediate relative, I think. But even still, it would have to be, okay, I'll give an example. It would have to be, I think, my own nephew, like my sister's son, as opposed to, and this probably sounds terrible,
my wife.
Exactly right.
Exactly
right.
I'm with you. I'm like, that ain't blood. Like, yeah,
exactly.
I'm with you on that.
I can draw the line there for sure, man, for sure. But that's a great question, right? Which is pushing people to that limit of how it would actually, or what would force you to rock the opposite colors. And I guarantee you that the majority of, like 90 percentile of people would return and say it would have to be blood, like son, something like that. Son, daughter, playing a sport at a respective school. That would be it.
And it can't be like someone older. Like it has to be someone I looked at as I'm a mentor to.
Yeah.
In that type of situation. Like Joe Judge, if I'm younger, if I'm like your younger cousin or younger whatever, I'm like, no, get out of here. Like if I'm Joe Judge's nephew, I'm not rooting for your squad. I'm rooting for my squad.
I'm with you, brother. I think that's the best way to put it for sure. All right, we got about 15 or so here. So I want to run through a couple of things. I want to run through the games that we have. We'll just look at Thursday night and run through everything Sunday as well and get up to, it's crazy, man. I was looking to see if there's like, a daytime game Monday or Tuesday. I'm just so used to it. I don't know if you saw this, but apparently this just came out, I think, earlier in the day, but the Raiders might be down all 5 of their starting offensive linemen, as one of the guys, Trent Brown, is on the COVID-19 list, and Gruden is concerned about contact tracing since all 4 of them, including Brown as the 5th, were hanging out together. This might be the first time all season, Sean, that we have an entire starting unit out due to COVID.
Listen, I said this before. I kind of put an asterisk. I think I'm going to put an asterisk next to this championship as opposed to any other sport, right? Because 16 games, one game, like the New England Patriots were struggling.
Yeah.
And since they handled the COVID situation well, unlike the Titans, they had to play anyway without Cam Newton. And they kept it close with the Chiefs. If they had Cam, they're probably winning that game. And that could end up being the difference between them making the playoffs and not making the playoffs. The Raiders have been playing great. What if their offensive line is out for the next 2 weeks? Right? To me, like that's a direct effect on who's the champion, who wins divisions, who gets in the playoffs, who has a home field advantage. That's like, so how can you be like, this is legit? I get it. Everyone's dealing with COVID, but the NFL isn't necessarily handling everyone the same way who catches COVID. Some are like, you're going to play. Some are like, no, you're going to play Tuesday. Some are like, now you get a bye. Like, huh?
It's crazy how this whole thing, and what's wild is that as much as it is kind of put together with duct tape, it looks as if they've been able to handle it. But then, some teams are out of buys. Like if the Titans or another team that already had to push something back, Baltimore as a result of it, if one of these teams again gets hit with it, then it's kind of like, what do? Do you add a week or 2 at the end of the regular season?
Yeah, they get 2 buys, and another team ends up with just 1, which is another reason why this whole thing ain't fair.
I love it. I think I'm with you, man. I might have to borrow that mentality as well, which is this sport, unlike the bubble sports, where I think that almost removed the asterisk, right? And I don't, as far as, okay, you put everybody in the same spot, even baseball now with whatever bubble that they created in the playoffs in the World Series. Ooh, game 2 of that. We got to get some thoughts on that real quick before we get out. But Lauren, let's look at this. If I were to throw, before we look at the games themselves across the board here and run through them, if I were to throw out Johnny Weir as the odds-on favorite for Dancing with the Stars, and again, I defer to you, to John Jansen, who comes your way in 45 minutes with the line change at the top of the hour. I have no idea. I can look at these odds and say, man, all right, well, Sky Jackson is at plus 3,300, right where Nelly is at, plus 3,300. Now, I would think Nelly would be higher up there. Like Johnny Weir is plus 150 as the odds-on favorite, and it's really not even close. Like the odds makers have Johnny Weir and Caitlin Bristow. I imagine that's his partner, right? Or are these people all dancing? See, I don't even know that. Are they dancing against each other?
I think that's his partner. Well, I don't know. I know they're all dancing against each other. I don't know what the partners' names are. I never know the partner's actual name.
Are the partners part of this? See, again, this is such basic information that I defer. John, do you have any idea? Are the partners part of this as well? Or is it?
No, they wouldn't be in the odds. No.
They wouldn't be in the odds.
No.
No, they're basically there just to help out because you can't dance on your own, like do ballroom dancing on your own. So they just have professional partners to help.
Okay, so everybody here is competing against each other, and clearly there's no. It's not
right. Like the judges
into...
aren't judging the partner; they're judging the celebrity.
Got it. And the celebrity is paired up with, I imagine, a professional dancer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Precisely.
Okay. See, I told you I'm ignorant to the bone when it comes to this. So Johnny Weir and Caitlin Bristow are the two odds-on favorites here. Now, you both have seen the show. Sean, you're familiar with what it takes to succeed at Dancing with the Stars. Johnny Weir is an Olympic skater, so he's already, he's got that locked in. Bristow is a TV personality. She's on The Bachelor.
Yeah, I mean, again, but that's because part of the vote is popularity. So you get a Bachelor in there, you're going to get voted. You're going to go a certain distance, even if you're trash. But Johnny Weir, yeah, he should be the favorite, and that's who I would bet because he's a dancer. He dances on skates. Right? Like he's a skinny dude who can do all the dance moves and has done all the dance moves with skates on. So I don't know how you even choose anybody else. And he's also popular as hell. He has both sides. That's why he's the odds-on favorite.
Okay.
Nelly will never win anything. Nelly can't dance.
Yeah, what's up with Nelly's at plus 3,300, man? That's at the bottom. He, Sky Jackson, and Churchill Strauss are the bottom three at plus 3,300. Do you think Nelly's out?
Yeah, Nelly's out. He's done. He's not. He can't win anything. He's going to get the popular vote, but he's going to be done as soon as it's his time. It's going to be 4 episodes in where that popularity doesn't matter. But it's Johnny Weir. I mean, who are the athletes on the show?
Well, Nelly was an athlete, though. Like,
you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the pro athletes.
Fair enough.
Usually a pro athlete like Jerry Rice and all those guys will at least make it in the top 3 because they're all-time great athletes. They're pretty good movers, but they lose out to the person who's a better dancer. But a lot of the all-time great athletes who get the popular vote get to the end, and they're also good with movement, so they often win also.
Okay. So I'm looking at this right now, and it doesn't look like Nev Schulman is a producer. He's the guy behind Catfish on MTV.
Yeah. Neve.
Mm-hmm. Pardon me. So he's at plus 500. He's the third favorite. Do you agree with that? That Neve is the number 3 odds-on favorite to win this thing? I'm looking for athletes. I don't see many.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now to see who they're against. I mean, I don't look at Neve as someone who could dance either. So I know Carol Baskins was on there.
No.
You know who Carol Baskin was?
Yeah, from Tiger King.
Yeah, she was on the show. I don't know if she's still on. She probably got eliminated, but.
Well, look at this. Monica Aldama. Do you even know who that is? I had no idea who this woman is.
I'll be honest. This list sounds trash.
Okay. Monica Aldama is, according to her Wikipedia page, an American cheerleading coach. She's the coach of the co-ed cheerleading team at Navarro College in Texas, which I imagine if you've ever seen, she probably has she's probably the Pat Summitt of American cheerleading, right? Like the Gino Auriemma or, the Bill Belichick, whatever it may be. Now, she happens to be amazing. She looks really good at 48, but isn't that kind of like, I think she's the closest to being an athlete on this list.
Wait, I see. Oh, because I don't know. I'm looking at the list, and maybe these people have been eliminated, but they had Charles Oakley and Vernon Davis.
Oh, is this season 29 we're talking about? They might have already been eliminated.
Yeah, they were already eliminated.
Oh, see, I thought this
Charles Oakley was the first one eliminated.
Oak was the first one to go?
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, put money on.
I imagine there's not a lot of movement in those bones anymore.
Put money on AJ McClain.
That would be my favorite.
Put money on AJ McClain, the dancer, the what was it? The Backstreet Boy.
Is he a Backstreet Boy?
Yeah.
AJ McClain?
Yes.
I couldn't pick this dude out of a lineup. I'm looking at him right now.
Yep, AJ McClain.
Remember the vocal group Backstreet Boys.
Yep, that is the man I'm gonna put my money on. Johnny Weir, you're probably not gonna win a lot of money because he's the odds-on favorite. But AJ McClain, he's gonna have the popularity vote by far, and he can dance from his old days. Maybe old, but still do some dancing. That's where I put my money.
Yeah, I read his Wikipedia, and he actually, as a kid, used to take dancing lessons every day for 2 hours.
Well, I'm sure, right? I mean, he's in boy band music videos. Like, that's some of the biggest choreography you're going to find. Those dudes didn't just wake up one day and start dancing in motion like that. Fact. I would imagine that he's got it in his bones.
Yep, that's the odds.
Oakley came in there thinking like, nah, I'm just going to wing it.
Right? He had he didn't have skills and nice feet in basketball. Like, why would he bring that on to here?
Wait a second. That's a really good point here. How the hell did Charles Oakley even get the invite? Of all the former NBA players, why Oak?
I have no clue why Oak would even take this. Like, right? Like his whole thing is being tougher than everybody and smacking Charles Barkley one time. Like, why would you interrupt your tough guy image
Seriously.
for Dancing with the Stars and being eliminated first?
What's Gervin doing right now? You couldn't get like a smooth dude out there just to mess around and dance?
Who would you want to as somebody who doesn't watch the show?
Yes.
Who would make you tune in? Is there a person, athlete, musician, whatever? Right? Yes. That would make you say, I'm watching that.
Man. So let me think here. It would have to be somebody popular that could also dance, because you know that if you can't dance, they're going to kick your ass right out of this thing.
I'm saying you may not even care if they win, but it's pure great entertainment. It would make you tune in.
So it would be somebody who is just eternally awkward, right? Like Oak's point. It would be somebody who is not known for being fleet on their feet. Somebody who is known for being like a klutz, or somebody who is just not known, like Joakim Noah, right? I mean, what's he doing? Somebody big and awkward, maybe. I don't know. Somebody, let's see, as far as
Joel Embiid.
Yeah, but I feel like Embiid.
He would be fun.
I'm sorry?
He would be fun.
Yeah, he would be fun. Yeah, okay. So to answer the question, that's a great answer. Yes, absolutely. From an entertainment standpoint, I would definitely want to see Embiid dance from somebody who is like just I'm trying to think of anybody who like.
Well, let me give you one and you can think for a second. Okay. And I'm gonna shock y'all with this one. You know who I would want to see with Dancing with the Stars? Suge Knight. That would make me tune in and say, what the hell is Suge Knight doing? Why is he with Dancing with the Stars? Is he gonna try to punk judges and punk other people? Like that would be so shocking to me. That would make me tune in and say, what the hell is going on here?
I love it. Okay, I can roll with that. I can definitely roll with Suge. I don't know why I thought of Khaled too, but I could see like the awkwardness of Suge just being there too. Like watch, and he would come out and kill it all, and no pun intended there, but he would come out and just be like really good, and everybody would be talking like that. Could you imagine Suge Knight trending on Twitter because of his twinkle toes on Dancing with the Stars? Be something nobody would ever think about.
Doing it with a cigar and daring people to tell him to stop and put it out.
All right, so somebody like who is so tight, like who is so buttoned up. I was trying to think of that angle as well, like a celebrity in maybe our world in sport. Belichick. How about Belichick? If Bill Belichick was on Dancing with the Stars, it would be such a departure from anything he would ever do that I feel like I would be glued to it. Like I would have to watch him. Just his face. I would pay $5.99 an episode just to have a Belichick cam on his face and watch his face the whole time he's ballroom dancing.
What's his post dance interviews going to be like? Oh, that's what you want to see. Belichick's post interview.
Well, instead of being on to Minnesota, he'd be on to the semis. Yeah, we're on to the semis.
I like the idea of head coaches, and I'm throwing Mike Tomlin in there.
Ooh,
Mike Tomlin would give a great post-conference dance, and he's very intense, and I think he would be great.
I would love to see that.
He give a passionate speech.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we need. We need that aerial cam of Mike Tomlin talking to his partner. All right, we're gonna just like giving the big speech, this huge pre-Super Bowl level speech, and you could see the dancer like shaking with all this adrenaline, ready to go out there.
Yeah.
That would be something. All right, let's run through this here because before we break and you jet, my friend. Let's run through everything. Sean Bell, again, at Sean Bell Live on Twitter, joining us on the Dr. Glatt Regrow Your Hairline. Dr. Paul Glatt, Philadelphia's leading hair restoration doctor. And you can catch him, myself as well, alongside Scott Grayson tomorrow, every Thursday, live at 7 o'clock on Fox 29. Props and locks. We'll lead you right up to this game, Thursday night, and every game, Thursday Night Football. All right, so as far as I'll give you the line. You tell me if it's a cover, if it's an upset, however you want to play it, just based on who wins. And we'll see. We'll come back to this next week because we'll do it rapid fire here. All right. I'll give picks. You give picks. We'll see if it doesn't have to be super long. The whole it's impulse picks. That's what we should call it, right? Okay. Just like the Rorschach test or those other tests where it's like, okay, first thing that comes to your mind, they show you an image or something like that. So just do impulse picks across the board. Eagles, do they cover? I'll give you 5 points. Do they cover?
Yes. Eagles cover. They win by a touchdown.
Okay, I'm with you too. So we'll do Eagles -5. Now, we'll go in alphabetical or chronological, order here across the board. Falcons are a 2.5-point home favorite hosting Detroit. Who do you like in this one?
Falcons. The Falcons get a win last week. Julio Jones is balling. I know they are a mess up, but who's messier than the Falcons? Detroit will contest that. So I'm going to pick the Falcons on this one.
I'm going to roll with you there too, only because there's something to not having Dan Quinn in the building anymore. It's got to feel like such a relief for these guys to not have that cloud, that dark cloud of Dan Quinn hanging over them. So I do feel like and at least they're talented on offense. Julio Jones, all these trade rumors.
Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, and Ridley has been balling his you-know-what off. All right, Browns, Bengals. Browns have a really bad loss last week. They're favored by 3 points in Cincinnati. I'll start here. I'm taking Cleveland. I know you hate Cleveland, but I'm taking Cleveland -3.
I've picked Cleveland the last 3 weeks, right? I've been on the Cleveland bandwagon begrudgingly, right? I'm picking Cleveland again. I think they're going to run all over that squad. ODB might throw a touchdown. You know how they do, or run one in. So, yeah, I think the Browns win that easily. I think they bounce back.
All right, Steelers, Titans. Titans are now a 1-point favorite at home. They were at 1 point the underdog, but that's moved. So the Titans at home, it's basically a pick 'em here between the Titans and Steelers.
My gut says the Steelers. I think my brain says the Titans, but my gut say the Steelers edge this one out. I can't even give you a real explanation, but to say heart says one thing, brain says other, but I'll select the Steelers.
You know what? I'm going to go with, you said heart says Titans, brain says Steelers, right?
No, my heart says I think the Steelers.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm going to defer.
I don't know. Steelers, though.
All right. I'm going to roll with the Titans. It's a pick 'em here. It's a coin flip. And I'm just going to roll with the home team. Like you, I don't have anything advanced to add to this conversation. Saints just over a touchdown, 7.5 at home against Carolina, who all of a sudden is 3-3 in this division.
Is Michael Thomas playing? I said he's off a suspension, I saw.
Yeah, he should be playing.
I'm going to go Saints. I'm not a believer in the Panthers. I'm not a believer in Matt Rule. I think Mike Thomas comes back, has a big game, has a 100-yard game. I'm going to go with the Saints. I'm going to go with Saints win by about 9.
Okay. Gotcha. I can't go. I was trying to come up with an argument and think, if Bridgewater, these guys have been playing better than advertised without McCaffrey, but the reality is I have to roll with you and take the Saints. Bills, Jets. Now, the Bills are favored by 13 points. I have no problem laying that. So I'll take Buffalo -13 in New York, taking on the Jets.
Yeah, it could have been 17, and I would have took Buffalo. I'm being honest with you. Yeah. there's nothing to say here. Everyone knows the obvious. Jets with another butt fumble or butt interception, butt something, and the Bills win easily.
Fair enough. Cowboys, Washington, basically a pick 'em here. You first.
Cowboys, man. I said Andy Dalton would bounce back. It didn't happen last week. I don't think Zeke puts it on the ground twice. I think they have a balanced game. I think the Cowboys are just a better team than Washington. Washington, they're still going to have to end up going back to Dwayne Haskins by the end of the season. I think it's going to be that much of a roller coaster for Washington. I think the Cowboys win by a touchdown.
I had Washington on 2 shows earlier today, so if I say Cowboys now, I'll be called a flopper and a fraud and all that. So I have to roll with Washington on this. Green Bay, it's only -3.5. Something just doesn't feel right about this. It's only -3.5. Brain says something up, antennas up, but my heart tells me there's just no way the Packers lose this game, especially coming off that brutal loss to Houston, who just, I don't know, they got their 1 win. I'm not sold yet. So I'll take Green Bay -3.5 in Houston, Sean.
That's low. I got Green Bay. I don't think quarterbacks like that don't have back-to-back terrible games. I mean, A-Rod was terrible. You don't have it's like Michael Jordan. If he has a poor game, the next game he's gonna kill you. LeBron, any of the greats, they have a poor game. Next game they're dropping 40 on your head. So yeah, I think the Green Bay Packers dropped 40 on their heads. So I think they, I don't know why it's just 3, but I'm going Packers.
All right. Now let's move. Seahawks, Cardinals, 3.5-point line in Arizona. Seattle is the favorite. How do you see it?
Seattle.
Yeah.
I think Arizona started off strong. Everybody got their hopes up, but they're a little above average. Seattle's a Super Bowl contender.
Chiefs -9.5 against Denver. Denver is feeling themselves now after that big win in New England. I'm taking Denver. It's just a lot of points. I'm taking Denver. We had this thing with the Chargers earlier. KC wins it, but I just don't think they cover that 9.5. So I'll take Denver +9.5.
I'm actually with you. This is the first pick of the picks of me picking the team that I feel like is going to win outright but lose when it comes to the odds. I think Kansas City is a team that I've seen. They only play great in games they're motivated by. This is a primetime game. We play great. This is a game against one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and Lamar Jackson. We play great. The other games that are they play bad in the first half. So yeah, I think they win late.
New England -2 at home against the Niners.
I got the Niners.
Woo,
I love me some Cam Newton, but I think they haven't played well. I think Cam has no weapons. I think Kyle Shanahan is the best young coach in the game. I think the 49ers win by 10.
Wow. I'm going to roll on that just because I'm with you. I think the Niners win this outright. Chargers are laying 8 points at home against the Jags. Jags are miserable. They've had that 1 win early, but it's not like the Chargers are winning games either. That seems like a lot of points. That's a disrespectful line to Jacksonville. So I'm going to roll Jags +8 on the road in L.A.
+8's too much. It's
Take
too
Jacksonville
much.
then?
Yeah, I think it's a 3-point game. A +8's too much for me to pick for either one of those teams. I'm sorry. Neither one are that good.
No, you're good. I'm with you. Sunday Night Football. We just heard that the Raiders sent all 5 of their starting offensive linemen home. Who knows if they'll even be out there? Tampa, at least right now, and we'll lock it in right now, is only a 3.5-point road favorite. I feel like until we know if or who or when these guys are playing, kind of have to roll Tampa Bay at this point.
Once again, I'm with you, bro. I'm with you on basically everything.
No, we had a couple that we moved away on.
Okay, that's true. That's true.
All right, last one, my friend, and then we'll chat again next week. Bears-Rams Monday night. L.A. Rams 6-point home favorite against the Chicago Foles.
I think the Bears are a fraud, so I'm going Rams by 8.
I'll try and gain some ground or maybe lose some ground, and I'll roll with the Bears +6 on the road, but I have you locked in at -6. Always a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Next week. And tomorrow.
And tomorrow. Tomorrow night, you can catch us live at 7:00 p.m. Fox 29. That's Sean Bell at Sean Bell live on Twitter. What are the odds? Michael Calabrese is going to join us coming up next. Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler, presented by Cure Auto Insurance.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, bro.
Absolutely. Appreciate you.
All right, I'll see you tomorrow.
By
You got it.
southbound, south of Academy to Bridge, we had a discipline in the construction zone.
Hey, buddy.
Northbound.
Want to do the same thing at double up here?
Yeah, when are we back?
422 West, stop and go between the Schuylkill and 20.
So this break is 2 minutes and 40 seconds. So we got 2:20 left on it.
Yeah, but if we double it.
It'll be about 6-7 minutes.
Okay.
Welcome back to Customize and
is that
Save
cool,
with
Mike?
Liberty
We got
Mutual
about 6
Insurance
minutes.
Company, the game
We're-
show
we're
where you
just
only
running
pay
late.
for what you need.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And
man,
we're
running
on a
late. I love
time.
the beard. Is that beard got
Only
thicker?
pay for what you need at Liberty Mutual.
Based on my college football winning streak, I'm going full playoff beard on this one. So until I lose, I'm going to hang with it.
Nice, nice. Now we're live on the
It's a
stream,
fact,
just so you
Jack.
know. We're not
Gary
live on the
Barbera
radio
is
yet. We'll be back in a
with
couple
his
minutes.
big
But
auto
I feel like after the Joe Buck and then the Zoom
0% financing
incident,
back
everybody
at
has
Barbera.
to know
You don't love it?
legally at least
Bring
when
it
you
back.
join this program. you're live on the
The
stream.
plan from the man.
Yeah, that's it's a good thing to have in your back pocket. Basically, it's a new age character is how you act when no one's watching. Basically, your future job prospects are how you act when your Zoom link is still live.
Have you had any of those? Like, was there any big, massive, or any of these Action Network Zoom calls where? Because we don't really have them for the radio stuff.
Great Northeast.
Had a
Low
couple for
employee pricing,
TV, but it's all
0%
people who
finance.
pretty
You
much
don't
know what
love
they're
your new
doing.
car?
So
Bring it
I was
back.
asking
During
around
our
just seeing if
big
anybody
auto
had over the
palooza.
last couple of
Is
months,
Barbera
not
the
with
best?
himself, but
Hey,
when they
Les.
logged on and had
Boy,
one
I
of these
guess.
crazy happenings.
Liberty
of-
Mutual
No,
Insurance.
the one is like somebody can't get it going, and yet you see it, and
I
they're like,
love
"Shit,
how we're
come
always
on,
looking
what
out for each other. Kind of like how Liberty Mutual looks out for you by
Yeah, I
customizing-
brought my computer into the bathroom for my day job about 6 months ago. So that was not optimal, but luckily there was a presentation going on, so that was like on the screen. And you had to like double click into my window, I guess. But luckily, our social media intern, she like had my phone number and hit me up really fast. But yeah, that was embarrassing enough. But yeah, nothing catastrophic, particularly in wake of the Tobin news or however he pronounces his name.
like that, right? I mean, that guy, my goodness. I mean, that's not an accident. You know, that's somebody who.
That's a lifestyle.
Exactly. That is a great way to put it. That is a lifestyle right there. Holy shit. I don't even know. Like, there's so of course the still shot. There are a couple of still shots going around of that. I don't know if you saw it, but there's one, and everybody is in a box, and everybody's reacting, of course, differently. And there's this one woman who was looking. It almost looks like she was like she was the one talking, and then caught it, and then caught herself, and was like, "Now hold up." The individual reactions to still shots, that the internet is amazing. It really is amazing. You know, stuff like that happens, and then the reactions to it is just, it's awesome. I'll never get tired of the craziness, but it is wild, man. It is wild. So we have, let's see, I'm just looking at this thing with Vegas, and we don't have any major pushbacks, right?
As of right now, it looks like everything's good to go.
Yeah.
The SEC's like been juggling their deck a little bit, so to speak, but they should be fine.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I was just looking to see. Did you have anything on Liberty?
Yes, Liberty was one of my top plays last week.
Yeah, I remember. I don't know if you had him this week too.
Let me actually take a look.
You hit that last week.
Yeah, that one was easy. I'm fine sitting one out with Liberty. Southern Miss is one of those kind of difficult teams to nail down. Their coach walked away, so their motivation is a little bit strange. And if you would like, I like to generally, as a rule of thumb, kind of handicap games for the first 6 weeks in the preseason. And the fact that Liberty is now a double-digit favorite, that's like a 2-touchdown swing. But having seen Liberty play, I know they can ball, particularly on offense. Malik Willis is really one of the best group of 5 dual-threat quarterbacks. But it just seems like prime backdoor situation, giving over that key number at 10. So I'm going to sit that one out.
Gotcha, brother. All good. Just want to make sure. All right.
We got East Carolina this weekend, right? They're going to win.
Sorry, John. I had the
EGW.
station down.
Energy for
You said something about East Carolina.
Yeah, Babe, please tell me they're going to win.
Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Well, ECU's got, I believe, a bye week, so they're not going to lose. So that's good.
That is very good. All right, yeah, their game is next game is October 3rd.
Yeah.
Well, who is that?
Like some 7 bold
game?
colors
It's Tulsa.
and 3 nicotine levels.
Yeah, that's not a good matchup for ECU. Tulsa's defense somehow, like, truly out of nowhere, their defense is like top 10 quality this year. I don't know how, but they're looking good.
The year is, and someone is waiting for a table at a restaurant.
How much time do we have, John?
Thompson.
Minute 20.
Okay.
Thompson, party of 4. Thompson, party.
Boy,
there you are.
This has been the sounds of the old world.
That's loud. That's just hot. We'll talk about it when we get back on the radio, but I was pretty surprised that Notre Dame, I know that they shit the bed last week, but I was pretty surprised from a cover standpoint. But I was pretty surprised that number's so low.
For Notre Dame this week.
Yeah, 10.5, I see it.
Yeah, it's Pitt's been a Jekyll and Hyde team this year, especially on defense. They've been really disruptive. It's not necessarily a new statistic, but the Havoc rating stats, which are all the negative plays, all the tackles for loss, forced fumbles, interceptions that you create, they're still a top 10 team. So their variance level is pretty high because there's a good chance they're going to create 2 or 3 turnovers in that game. But yeah, I don't know. Notre Dame, after watching the Florida State game, I was starting to feel a little bit better about them. But after that stinker for Louisville, I'm going to sit on the sideline and see if they can straighten things out, or this is basically the actual team that they are.
Podcasts in the iHeartRadio app to find.
Makes sense.
Okay. Podcasts sure to make you squirm.
A Florida man does something stupid.
Don't do something stupid.
What are the odds? It's Eitan Shander on Fox Sports The Gambler.
Well, 20 more minutes for this program, then we're back on a Monday, and we'll have as much as we possibly can to look back at from Friday night, Saturday in the world of college, and then, of course, all things NFL, including a nice break from having to struggle through Philadelphia Eagles talk. So it's a Wednesday. We're going to get you prepared for all things college football like nobody else can, and that's Michael Calabrese at East Breeze, Saturday Down South at SDS, and, of course, the Action Network. You can read up on all of Michael's picks and analysis at both Saturday Down South and the Action Network. My friend, it's always a pleasure. I see the playoff beard is already creeping in for those watching on the stream. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a gambler, so I obviously am tied to my superstitions. Hitting 70% of my Twitter picks in the month of October. So as long as I'm north of 65%, I'm going to rock this beard. And also, I think it's an homage to the Big Ten fans coming out of the wilderness, finally back for a college football season. The Robin Williams gift from Jumanji. What year is it? That's kind of the look I have going right now.
All right, well, I'm fully prepared to steal this stat and push it everywhere I possibly can. But I, on purpose, waited for you to be the one to break it because it's your stat, it's your research. You're the one who put this out. But the theme of the weekend fits really nicely in a small Penn State, Indiana box where we can kind of look at the power of the home dogs to open things up when it comes to the Big Ten, at least.
Yeah, there's been, kind of a market correction for underdogs in the Power 3, which is, the SEC, the Big 12, and the ACC. Underdogs are hitting 55.5% against the spread so far. But home underdogs, as you pointed out, 20-10-1 against the spread, 66%. That's plus 9 units on the season. And 12 of those 31 games have been outright victories for the underdog. So you have to start taking this data a little bit more seriously. This is considering all the COVID precautions, playing in front of empty stadiums. It's starting to solidify a little bit. And I think it's proving that even without fans, the fact that you have to travel, not being on your home turf, it's impacting teams even more so than previous years. So I certainly have a few games on the Big Ten slate circled for this weekend.
I don't know how much it breaks down or how much it matters, Michael, and you can kind of tell me if it does. But are we seeing, and that number itself, the 20-10-1 against the spread, outside of the 12 straight-up upsets, but are we talking about big lines that simply favorites couldn't cover, or are these tighter lines in which the dog is coming out with a surprising victory?
A lot of these are tighter, although I will say, you point to Saturday nights in Tallahassee, Florida State knocking off number 5 North Carolina. I think it's also showing in this year, you're going to have some strange teams in the top 15 that are either playing above their head or the fact because, we've had multiple starts this season, pollsters haven't known exactly where to slot teams. And for that reason, you had a North Carolina get all the way up to number 5. That was ridiculous. North Carolina struggled against Syracuse in their opener. They struggled in Chestnut Hill against Boston College, but they just kept climbing by, default to make it all the way to the top 5. And because of that, you ended up getting a lot of value on the actual spread with Florida State. And then they end up coming out with the huge money line upset. So I think you're going to see more of this year, as it's really difficult for pollsters to compare a team that's 1-0 with a team that's 6-2, which is something that they're going to have to deal with in the coming weeks with the Pac-12 and the Big Ten. So it's going to be difficult. And because of that, not necessarily the odds makers, but the public cares a lot about the AP poll. It's just a metric that is utilized that's not all that useful to sharps. But when they see number 8 next to Penn State, they immediately think, oh, they're really good. Of course, they're going to win and cover this 7-point spread against Indiana.
So let's start there. Great place, as a lot of us here locally have more than just an eye on Penn State every year. And outside of the obvious, all the pressure that is put on James Franklin and this team to be better than the number 2 team in the conference, let's just talk about this game specifically. 7, I have it here, 6.5. It fluctuates depending on where you get it. I'm on the Fox Bet app here. Do you like, I don't know, maybe that's a difference, that half point, but how do you see this at 6.5, 7 so far leading into this game at Indiana?
Yeah, I think it's useful if it's 6.5, and obviously we're speaking in the state of Pennsylvania, so there's going to be a little bit of bias in terms of, the overall ticket hold for the sports books to put it in favor of Penn State. So they're probably going to, try to entice some more Indiana money coming out of this. If it's 6.5, where I'm comfortable playing it, I'm going to buy that half point. But I'm also interested in Indiana on the money line here, and it's pretty simple. Indiana has one of the worst home field advantages in the Big Ten. So the fact that you're getting them in a half empty, a quarter, 3/4 empty stadium, that's not making an impact whatsoever on my handicap for this game. What I do see, though, is this Indiana offense has a chance to be in that tier just below Ohio State. They have some deficiencies talent-wise on their defense, but offensively, they return a veteran quarterback in Penix Jr. They have at least 1, maybe 2 skill position players who will end up getting a shot in the NFL out wide and in the backfield. And because of that, I think that's going to put a lot of pressure on a Penn State offense that is now down Journey Brown. He is at least out for the foreseeable future, if not the entire year. And I think where you look at this rating, number 8 in the AP poll, that was predicated on them coming off of a huge Cotton Bowl win and returning some superstar players, including Micah Parsons. And I don't like to overreact too much to a single personnel loss. But now you have a significant starter on both sides of the ball, and Micah Parsons gave them a little bit of versatility on defense that I just don't think they're going to be able to replace. Being able to fill someone in the scheme, that's fine. But he could line up all over the field, kind of play rover, at times play defensive line. He was going to return kicks this year. That versatility, you can't replace it. And because of that, I think that moves a game that I initially had slated in the 10-point range. Now we're down to a touchdown, and I think everything's trending towards Indiana. And also the pressure not being on Indiana whatsoever in this spot. I really like the Hoosiers here.
So John Jansen, who comes at the top of the hour for the line change in 13 minutes, double dutying tonight and producing this program. We were having a chat live on the stream in the break. He's all over Indiana money line on top of the spread. Do you like that play too?
I do. I think if you're going to catch Penn State, you're going to catch them early in the season. This is something that I talked about in my column that comes out tomorrow morning for Saturday Down South. And the facts are that, Franklin at Penn State has not been great in openers. He's 2-4 against the spread. That includes a straight-up defeat to Temple in 2015 and a game they really should have lost that went to overtime with Appalachian State in 2018. If you're going to catch this guy who has an incredible record in Happy Valley, I think he's, borderline top 10 coach in the entire country. If you're going to get him, you're going to get him early. So I do like, potentially sprinkling in some of my wager on the money line.
All right. Where are you the most confident right now? We can stay in the Big Ten if it's easy just to go conference by conference at the moment. But what game jumps out? Maybe it is elsewhere in the Big Ten, even if it's Friday night with that Wisconsin opener. Is there a game in the conference this week that screams value to you?
Well, I'll jump back to the Big Ten in just a second, because as soon as you say top play, my mind immediately goes to the top of my sheet. And I love a spot where I believe that the wrong team is favored. That generally means there's, 6 to 7 point discrepancy. Cincinnati traveling to Dallas to play SMU. They're catching 2.5 points. They should be at least a 4-point favorite in this game. And the rationale is pretty simple. SMU is an offense-dependent team, maybe more so than any top 25 team in the country right now. This is a matchup between number 9 Cincy and number 16 SMU. In this spot, because of their personnel losses, they lose their starting running back and really a borderline All-American wide receiver, both out for the entire season. And it's not an Alabama situation. It's not Georgia. It's not 5-star kids waiting in the wings. So the drop-off has been pretty considerable. When you look at how they played against Memphis in the first half 2 games ago, they were gliding along. They were playing probably their best football of the entire season. They lose both of those kids, and they just are able to hold on for a 3-point victory. They come back the next week against a Tulane team that's 2-3, and they sneak it out in overtime. I think this is a Wile E. Coyote situation where they've already gone off the cliff, but the casual observers and SMU, they look at it as, oh no, they still have this positive momentum. They're just going to keep going. The fall is going to be swift here against Cincinnati, who has by far the best pass defense in the entire country. They're holding QB rating at 80, which is 15 points better than the second best team in the country. They have a Jim Thorpe award winner, a Jim Thorpe watch list member in their secondary. Luke Fickell, this will be his last stop before he gets a major job. You'll see him at either a Big Ten power or potentially out west. This is the opportunity to get Cincinnati. They're not sexy. Their offense is more predicated on ball control, but they're really, really good on defense. They're going to put SMU in a vice grip in this game. I love the Bearcats.
Awesome. Michael Calabrese at East Breeze joining us Saturday down south. Of course, the Action Network on the Dr. Glatt Regrow Your Hairline. Dr. Paul Glatt, Philadelphia's leading hair restoration doctor. All right, your choice now. Should we go back to the Big Ten, or should we look at maybe a total or two that jumps out at you? If it's another big game, even that Ohio State, Oklahoma, we can go Big 12, SEC. We can't get out of here without thoughts on the SEC, but I don't want to skip over anything on the Big Ten either.
I'll go quick speed round with the Big Ten. Keeping with that home dog theme, Purdue is catching 3 at home against Iowa. That's reloading a lot on both sides of the ball. This is a Purdue offense that was supposed to be electric last year, coming off an upset of number 2 Ohio State in the previous season. They were just decimated with injuries. But what that afforded them was an opportunity to get experience for a lot of freshmen and sophomore players. They get Rondell Moore to come back, which is huge. And Jack Plummer, their quarterback, now has a lot of experience. I love Purdue in this game straight up at home. Then you look at Michigan playing against Minnesota. This one, I think, it's special for more than a few reasons. Number one, this is the coldest Big Ten opener in over 70 years. It's going to be 32 degrees outdoors in Minneapolis for this game. Michigan breaking in a brand new quarterback. I like under 54.5 in this spot. These are two teams that, were off and on decent offensively last season. Minnesota particularly had a higher ceiling, but I think you're going to see them come back to earth a little bit. And in really cold weather, this is kind of a strange way to start your season. And then finally, Maryland against Northwestern. This one kind of popped off the page. It's clearly does not have the sex appeal of some of these other matchups around the country. It's an 11-point game. Northwestern, it was like a crime against humanity, their offense last year. Now, granted, Maryland gave up points to anyone who rolled their helmets out on the field last season. But to give 11, I think, is way too generous for an offense in Maryland that could end up being pretty decent. They have 2 good quarterbacks. They're probably going to play both of them. Tua Tagovailoa's little brother is one of them. I'm going to go ahead and take the Terps plus 11.
Is there any value going under 55 there?
I'm not exactly sure because Northwestern is breaking in a new offensive coordinator. He has some experience under Butch Jones, both at Central Michigan and Tennessee, and his offenses were kind of hybrid offenses. They were multiple. In some cases, they executed at a pretty high level. But I'm just scared because Northwestern was so horrific last year on offense. And then on the flip side of the coin, they were pretty good defensively, and they were down multiple linebackers. They get those kids back. I think there's a chance that they're the second or third best defense in the Big Ten. So that's just a stay away for me in that spot.
All right. Are you even getting anywhere near Ian Book and Notre Dame laying 10.5, which seems a little low, taking on Pitt? Now, it's at Pitt, but that was kind of what jumped out at me looking at this line was that I expected maybe something around 13.5, but also we know how much Notre Dame struggled last week as well.
Yeah, this is more of an educational game for me. I want to see if that was just a sleepwalking incident for Notre Dame last week, or if they have some structural issues with their offense. Because to be honest, I was really viewing them as a higher upside offense, maybe the highest of the Brian Kelly era, just because they had been running the ball so well. And now they're running into a Pitt team that is really disruptive on defense, top 10 in defensive havoc rating, and they've played their way in and out of games just based on turnovers. So to be honest, if I had a gun to my head, I would play this two ways. I would take Pitt on the money line, and I would also take Notre Dame on the alternate line, laying 3 touchdowns. So I'm just essentially in that spot. I'm opening myself up to a huge middle, a 10-point middle, but I think it's either a runaway or an upset, and I'd be happy taking the plus size odds on both sides of that.
21 too much to lay at Tennessee for the Crimson Tide?
No, Tennessee's broken. I think they're in the midst of a quarterback controversy, which is not what you're looking for against an Alabama team that's trying to get right defensively. Obviously, their offense flipped into hyperdrive against Georgia last week, but the defense is still, getting chewed out by Nick Saban. So I think this is an opportunity for Alabama to prove that they're not a one-trick pony. I think there's an opportunity to force Tennessee to have to play 3 different kids at quarterback in this game, so 21's fine. And as always, under Nick Saban, taking the first half in a game like this, whenever he's laying north of 3 touchdowns, that's usually preferable. Sometimes he loses interest in the second half. He doesn't necessarily keep his foot down on the accelerator the same way that Dabo Swinney does. So I would go ahead and lay it's probably going to be 12.5 or 13 in that spot in the first half with Bama.
Awesome, Michael, as always, man. Is there any game, we've got time for one more, if you want to sneak it in, either a game that we missed that you love, or a game that I always love to ask you this question as well. It's your choice either way. But a game that so many people, colleagues of yours, are all over that you know better and you want to stay away from.
Well, I won't throw any of my colleagues under the bus, but I will share this. This week has been interesting for me, both personally and professionally. Personally, because I am potty training my 2-year-old son, and that ties in perfectly with my pick here, which is Western Kentucky. They are 0-5 against the spread. This is a hold your nose and lay the points situation. Go ahead and take the Hilltoppers -14 against Chattanooga, playing in their first game of the season. Chattanooga is an awful FCS program, and in the last 3 years when they play either a ranked FCS team or an FBS team taking a step up as they are here, they lose by an average of 18.5 points. Western Kentucky only laying 2 touchdowns. I'll take the Hilltoppers. And hopefully, that can be their first win of the season. And hopefully I can get this 2-year-old potty trained.
I love it, man. All the best. That's such an awesome time. And I'm sure you have your hands full, literally, and everything else that comes. All the best, brother. You're going to need it for sure. All the best. And we'll chat next week. Thanks as always, Mike.
Appreciate it. Take care.
You got it. That's Michael Calabrese at East Breeze, joining us on the Dr. Glatt Regrow Your Hairline. Dr. Paul Glatt, Philadelphia's leading hair restoration doctor. John Jansen comes your way next on the line change. Anything big, anything major, anybody right now listening should know about your show coming up tonight, Mr. Jansen?
Jeff Parles is coming on the show, and
Nice.
Jason Mizrahi, 2 very, very good guys to have on. So
Jeff's a good
2
dude.
good guests.
Yeah, absolutely. Both are. I apologize. I didn't mean to play favorites by any
No,
means.
it's all right. Yeah, Jeff is great.
So coming up at the top of the hour, John Jansen with the line change. Thank you, sir, for stepping in and doing double duty over the past couple of nights. Enjoy the line change. Enjoy your week. Enjoy the Philadelphia Eagles covering that 10-point alternate line. That's right. We're back on a Monday. What are the odds? Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler, presented by Cure Auto Insurance.